current government action is stalled. Politics are really becoming, well, they have become, I don't know. I don't have much to say about this. It is something that is very disheartening. But the fleet average of 54.5 miles per gallon by 2025. The car companies came together with Obama and were very supportive of this. They probably will push back, but they were very happy with the financial aid that the federal government gave them in years ago, and they were all pretty happy with each other. Power plants, large industrial facilities, this came together, and well, it's taken them. Everything is kind of being blocked, and so last year, the federal appeal court unanimously dismissed arguments from industry that the science of global warming was not well supported, and upheld the EPA's finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health and that the EPA can act under the Clean Air Act to impose limits. So what happens then is they just take money away out of funding for the department, and they really can't get anything done. So the most important thing, I'd say, is getting your fuel efficiency up, your CAF standards up to 54.5, an amazing amount of rewards from that. And there are plans in place. In fact, if we looked in our close by the Upper Scioto Valley, Christmas Eve last year, the model, costing $750,000, put forth that the Mid-Ohio area will get wetter in the spring and the winter, but it'll get drier and hotter in the summers. And we'll see more frequent storms with heavier rainfall. This is not something that anybody likes. You get erosion, and the water does not. We would like a gentle rain that falls over a few days to satisfy the crops. And we're watching the tree blooms changing, the springs arriving a month earlier for some species. The leaves begin to emerge from the buds 30 days ahead of schedule. So this is how Mother Nature is reacting to this. And here's a little graphic from the Dispatch last year showing different times that they've come out. And that was from last year, and that was a humdinger. And we're watching the stress on the world get greater and greater with more and more people coming in, and people wanting to have a quality of life that is without fear of starvation, and their children being safe and thriving. And that, of course, is not too much to ask. China produces more CO2 emissions than the U.S., but the U.S. still wins hands down per person. But anytime you discuss any of this, it has to be global. It has to be China, U.S., Europe, India, Brazil to a certain extent. But the big players have to all come together. And here is Huizhou 2011. And the new paramount leader, Xi Jinping, has not changed this, but their 12th five-year plan does contain a cap and trade policy to lower CO2 emissions. And they're also looking into alternative energies. So they've made plenty of vows. We shall see what happens. Everything seems to depend upon how comfortable people feel with the juggernaut of their economies. So It is not, China is not the third largest economy anymore. I'm sorry. It is now the second largest. It has surpassed the European Union. And it accounts for 20% of the greenhouse, with 1.33 billion people. And lots of cars in the U.S. And China's growing middle class wants lots and lots of cars. And cars put out humongous amounts of CO2. India, too, largest democracy in the world. They have talked a bit about carbon dioxide. They've even slammed the United States as measly. Thank you very much. An Indian emits 1.7 tons of coal, an American 23.5 tons. They got a much larger population. And it is, I'm not sure, but India may surpass China very soon in population. But of course, both of them are 3 to 4 times the size of the United States. It is, of course, one of the fastest growing. But again, if you start talking about motor vehicles, now that did not go. They tried to put in a very cheap, nasty kind of car in India for $2,000, and people did not respond to it. And thank you, since it put out copious amounts of nasty stuff out of its exhaust pipe. All right, and then this is just something coming down from one of the people that was one of the great climate change skeptic. He wanted to see more data, and he concluded at his Berkeley labs that global warming is real and that prior estimates of the rate of warming were correct, and humans are almost entirely the cause. And he will keep going with this. Kind of interesting. His work was funded in part by the Koch brothers, and they were hoping he would discredit the climate change study. The Koch brothers are the guys that are so involved with the Tea Party, and who just asked that the minimum wage be, not asked, they don't ask for anything, they say the minimum wage should be abolished because it hurts economic growth. So anyway, that's it. How about the future? As climate increase, the temperature cooled to rise. This is his predictions. My ex-skeptic. I expect it to be 1.5 degrees over land next 50 years. Less if the oceans are included. The oceans are a big gamble here, or a big question mark of what they're going to do. They've been taking in more than they expected, and that may change. But remember how big the oceans are. China's rapid growth, vast use of coal, the coal that's not being used from Wyoming, they're talking about sending it to the West Coast in Seattle, and that is horrific to me, since I hope to move there, and I would like not to have huge storehouses of coal being sold out of there. How selfish. I appreciate that. But in the same, warming could take place in less than 20 years. But it doesn't have to, and hopefully people will come up with a win-win save for this that saves money, saves the environment, and does not run out of time.